Hello, welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and it is the fellas are with me tonight on this night.
Turn
Welcome
off the
back.
stove.
Hello, Med.
Hi, how you doing? We here. I'm sorry.
He's feeling all new and fresh and everything. Cameron, how are you?
Doing well. Not as fresh as Med or Damon, but I am among fresher settings. So feel free to oogle in my living room, as you all often do.
I like it. I like that setting. And Damon, you have consumed a little protein, I'm assuming, and you ready to rock?
Yes. We went to the gym and I didn't eat first, so I had to mash something right quick just to get in shape. I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go. So tell me about your the way in which you groom yourself. Tell me about some of your grooming chores. We started this with Med, and I'm just curious how you guys do this. I mean, I do the hair, I do the lashes, pedicure, but you guys, what is your routine?
Wash and go, Sybil. No,
right.
That's it, Cameron.
Am I fresh?
Just sniff.
We good?
yeah, I mean, it depends. Every other day, if I don't shave my head, then I get kind of raspy about it. So I shave and shower. The last part, and then I'm out the door.
Okay.
A lot of lotion though. I use Nivea Extra Enriched Lotion. I've been using that since I was 18. So people ask me, what do I use because I don't have an aged or black don't crack. I've been using Caress soap and Nivea Extra Enriched Lotion since I was a teenager. And I read a long time ago when I was a teenager to put my lotion on up and out.
Right.
And I've been doing that all my life. So
Up and out.
Up and out. That's right. That is absolutely right.
Don't
bring it down. Bring it up. Right. Absolutely. Med, we started this conversation with you. And you shared with us that you got the works done today.
Yeah,
good, by the way.
No, I appreciate it. This one, I didn't pay for this one. I did this one myself. Okay. Just touch it up because the thing about getting your hair cut, sometimes you want the growth. Okay, sometimes because the best cuts come when you let the hair, grow a little bit. Because my hair don't grow out, it just kind of like this, and then I have the cul-de-sac right here. So, but it's so good to get right here, let that grow out a little bit, and then you get the clean shave because
is it the George Jefferson?
The George Jefferson had length. He had, he could mine just flat, and it's been like that since I was 21. God did not bless me for a long time of having hair on the top of my head, but the sides, yes, all the time. And so, what I do, take the razor blade to the head. We got the razor blade to the head, got that nice scrub it. And then, my wife told me, she's like, you're not scrubbing hard enough. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, the scrub, you need to go hard. So when now my face turns red and it gets all the dead skin off my face.
Right.
Let's go. And then I'm an Aquifer lotion combo kind of guy. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And let that, move through you, if you will.
Okay. Okay. All right. I understand. And Cameron, anything you'd like to share with us about your grooming habits?
I'm a cocoa butter kind of person, in the very likely chance that someone would be getting a little close for comfort. I like to give them a nice little fragrance.
A fragrance and a soft skin. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Right. Yeah. So I'm a cocoa butter kind of person.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I learn something new every day, and that's what I like to do. I like to laugh every day, have a great cup of coffee, and to learn something. You all have educated me today, thus far, early on in the show.
Hold on, real quick, Damon. You go with the grain or against the grain? How we
I go back because my hair, goes back like that. I used to brush back too. I didn't realize when I had waves, my son was like, "You brush back?" You're like, "Oh, everybody know you do this."
I thought we go. Yeah, I thought we go like this. This is where we go.
No, That's why my hairline receded. I kept brushing it that way.
That is so funny. Everything was going up, and you didn't realize that you were going back. You were pushing your hair back. Your hairline.
My younger brother said, "Hey man, you look like your high top is fading fast." I remember that's what I didn't have a hot top fade. I had a high top that was fading.
So that's what we talk about here. Sometimes off air, sometimes we bring it to the air here on It's Sybil. And let us move to the What You Need to Know newsletter. Thank you so much for educating me. And I've been a Nivea baby since I was a kid because I had difficult skin. And so Nivea all my life. I've never known Nivea Eucerin, as a matter of fact. Yeah. Gotta have that cream. Gotta have the cream, not the lotion. So Cameron, let's talk about the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday effort. Cameron is our political contributor, and we talk about subjects that appeal and affect the African American community. And Cameron had a really interesting story as based upon a Pew Research survey. And Cameron, tell us who's bringing home the bacon according to this survey.
Yeah, Med, Damon, I don't know about you all, but my dreams of becoming a house husband are just becoming more and more apparent every single day. More women are making just as much as their husbands. Men are becoming increasingly less the sole breadwinner in their families. And you know what? Black women are more likely than any other demographic to be the primary or sole breadwinner in their marriage. Now, check this, and this is the part that I tend to grapple with, is that yes, the earning potential for women has increased overall, but 71% of all women still say that they do most of the housework. And we know,
hell no.
So women are still out here working 2 full-time jobs and a half. And we all know that with increased monies typically creates increased responsibilities. So I'm hoping that we can see, just like marriage roles change. I'm hoping that women can look forward to some whoa man caves. And I'm hoping that, dudes out here can at least do the dishes. But me, I would love to just sit back and be a house husband, cook, clean, write a few New York Times bestsellers, and make love to my beautiful wife.
Nice. Who's bringing home the bacon?
Yeah, bring it home. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Med, when I said, "Oh hell no," about having to clean and do all the chores and stuff and bring home the bacon, you said, "Hold up now." So what do you say?
Now, see, what I've learned being married all these years is that, my wife, who doesn't bring the bacon yet, she's gonna bypass me very soon. But yeah, she doesn't like how I do housework. And typically, I would like to say that it's because that I've worked my way into, knowing how to not do it the way she wants it. And she just said, screw it, don't do it, don't touch nothing. No, right. It's stuff that I've been that way. I've done it. And my wife can't stand it. Don't touch my laundry machine. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, I put the comforter in there one dang time. All of a sudden, I can't wash any clothes. I'm like, it was one little comforter. You're trying to ruin our washing machine, huh? I'm like, I have never ruined a washing machine in my life, and I've put heavier stuff. Whatever. Yeah, you can't. So, it's one of those things where it's like my wife's like, take out the garbage, handle the yard, and don't touch.
What about the cooking? What about cooking?
The cooking is like, she does most of the cooking, but now I have been picking up, a little bit more of the slack on that, which she doesn't mind at all. She'll eat the food and say that it's decent. You know what I'm saying? And
palatable.
Yeah.
Edible. Yeah. How long y'all been married?
How old's my son? We've been married. We're married 7 years.
What, 7
years?
Yeah.
7 years. Yeah, we're married 7
and
years.
Damon, old wise one. Damon, what do you say?
Well, part of the issue with women being breadwinners and being especially primary breadwinners is kind of a couple of generations ago, it's the fault of your predecessors. There was a time when men were chauvinistic and controlling. and didn't want their women to work and forbid them to work. And your great grandmother, your grandma, like, we want to work too, and mess it up for y'all. Y'all could have been at home in big dumb cocktail dresses making martinis all day.
I was in the white woman's world.
Well, that depends on the black. Well, depends on the black man you with.
Okay.
But
okay.
That being said, now you know we like you got to get up and help us with these bills. In fact, we'll help you get up. Like, baby, that was your snooze. That's your second alarm now. So now women have double duties. Yeah, they have double duties, and that's why they also have receding hairlines and male pattern baldness because they're working hard as men. That's why you're losing your edges and grumpy as hell because you got double duty.
Okay.
But I like to say, like Ahmed, you know, my wife has a routine for her stuff, and I've offered to help in certain areas, and she like, I got it, because that's just what she does. Cooking is random with me and not very seldom. But you know, I mean, I'm coming and going a lot. But I have a traditional wife. She feels like she wants to fulfill me in those ways. But we also go out to dinner a lot.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
I remember when I graduated from Northwestern, Phil Donahue was still on the air, and they invited a bunch of local female college graduates to be on the show. And one of the questions was, how does it feel now to be a part of the generation that's going out to work? And I said that I've never known an era where my grandmother or my mother did not work. My grandmother was a school teacher. My mom started out as a social worker and ultimately became a school teacher. That was just never, there was never a question that they were going to have to get out and work. And especially after my dad died, I don't know what my mother would have done in terms of being a skilled worker, you know, having lost a husband. And so I'm a part of, I guess I'm now the third generation of women who have to get out and work, and looking for a man who says at 3 o'clock in the morning, I got this. I fully and readily admit this, that at some point it would be good to have a guy say, I got you, because I have been responsible for myself all these many years, and knowing that without bringing in some sort of income, it goes flat. So yeah. I'm glad to see that Black women are succeeding in terms of being the breadwinner or bringing in as much as, if not more than, their husbands. And I hope that they're okay with this. But I'm also very concerned about the fact that Black women don't make as much to the dollar as white men do.
Right.
And so even though they may be the breadwinner, even though they may be bringing in a nice salary, how does that compare to, because white women make more than Black women still to the dollar. And so my concern, Cameron, is that that discrepancy is still playing a part in our lives, in the way that we live our lives.
Yeah, and as Michelle Lynn said in the comments from Facebook, you know, there are social determinants to the Black family dynamic that I think the study kind of overlooked. You know, Black women have had to work because we're coming from these, you know, economic deficits, and you know, all the generations of women in my family have had, you know, those, you know, 2 full-time and a half jobs.
Yeah.
Not only just tending to the housework, but also just keeping the kids enriched and engaged, making sure that they excel.
Right.
I remember there was one time during the summer where my mom my mom chose to go on a vacation to Jamaica with her friends for a week, and my dad didn't know what to do.
Right.
It was like, all right, all right.
Okay, kids. Here's the plan.
We eating out this week. That's what we're doing. We eating out this week.
Yeah. He was like, okay, what y'all want? What y'all want Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Yeah.
Every day.
Which pizza are we having today?
Right.
And then my mom got back home and she was like, you spent how much on what?
Right.
But we absolutely loved it. So yeah, I mean, there are social determinants to all of this, and you know, when I start cleaning, you know, my mom will you know, hover, you know, make sure that I'm, you know, cleaning right, and I'm like, man, you know, do you do you want me to do this or not? Do you need to inspect my handiwork? So.
Well, she's preparing you for that woman who has high standards, like Damon.
It doesn't stop with your mother. No, it doesn't stop. You're not going to do the same thing. Okay, all right. So that's why whenever I do any kind of cleaning or anything for the house, I wait for her to be at work so that I can just do it and be left alone. Because you walk in like
that's the hack. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because when she walks in, she's like, "Man, thank you so much for blah 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 yada yada." I'm like, "No problem." But if she was there while I was doing it, she
over your shoulder
and nitpick how you do it. I'm like, it doesn't matter how I do it; does it get done?
Yeah, you definitely have to do it when she's not there. And like he said, there's also a little reward system from that, because she comes home and she's surprised because you don't always do this. And it was something that she was probably dreading to have to do when she got home, but it's already done. So there's relief from that. Yes, sir.
Oh, funny.
That is a callback, people. That's a callback. If you're not a regular viewer, you have to catch up. But this right here is a reward.
Is it warm in here or what? Yeah. Good job, Cameron. I really enjoyed that story, and it is obviously a discussion that we should all have, and especially in this day and age where people are quietly quitting, or however they're living their lifestyles, hybrid, at home, a little at the office kind of deal, and these adjustments that have to be made. And those are other discussions people have when they start to live together, or living together as spouses. So really good job, really enjoyed that. Also want to talk about the story that we had in the newsletter about Tim Scott. Tim Scott is the only Black Republican in the United States Senate. And now he kind of sort of wants to be president of the United States. And when I say kind of sort of, it is he has announced an exploratory committee. What does that mean? He wants money. He has to put together a staff. And he's kind of looking around to see how people respond to the idea of this Black Republican running for the Republican nomination in the world, in the time of Donald Trump. And so, and he's not giving very good answers when he's asked things regarding like abortion. He wants people to know he's going to be the most conservative president that the country has ever known. And so when they ask him, because Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, signed the 6-week abortion bill, they said, well, what would you do? Would you have 6? Would you have 15 like Lindsey Graham has proposed? He goes, no, I would tell you, it's not about the number. I will be the most conservative. Well, you're not giving us anything to go with. When and so he's kind of fudging and being very vague in his answers. So my question was, is he running for president, or is he running for vice president in order to put his name out there? And I know that George H.W. Bush wanted to be president, but there came a point where he was starting to slip, and he really joined with Ronald Reagan, and Reagan ultimately picked him as his running mate. I think that's where Tim Scott may be headed in terms of being somebody's running mate, if it's Donald Trump or Nikki Haley, the woman who put him in the United States Senate in the first place, or if it's DeSantis. What do you all think? Do you think he has a real interest in becoming president of the United States?
Tim Scott knows that nobody really likes him. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one really messes with Tim Scott. He is like the token Black guy, for the Republican Party that they throw out there every single RNC. Like, he gets some primetime real estate. Why? Because he's Black, but no one really messes with Tim Scott like that. But they'll throw him on a ticket. Tim Scott's just doing what he needs to do to stay in front of the people, to let people know that he's there, that he's alive, that he's breathing. And, and what this will do, and I think would be a smart idea for him to get on a ticket with somebody that could possibly win, and now he can go be a vice president, which, as we all know, is like the real nice luxury job. You just kind of go out and kiss babies, hug, handshake people, and just Yeah, whatever the president said. Yeah. We good. We good. So Tim's is looking for a job right now.
Manuel Murphy, check this out here, Cameron. Tim Scott has a better chance than me. That's about it. I don't believe in Uncle Tom's, but I do about Uncle Tim's.
Well, the thing is like,
no one
people
really likes Tim Scott.
Yeah, I mean, like, people in Tim Scott's camp showed him that like more black men are voting Republican, and that we're in this like hyper identity politics aware era where people will vote for someone who looks like them rather than where they stand on the issues. And so, as Med said, he's got to pay to play. He's got to prove that he can still that he's still popular. And I feel like he can definitely turn away some crucial black votes in these like very tense districts. It's a shame that he's kind of just like taking the and dare I say like Mayor Eric Adams approach where don't ask me no questions because I ain't gonna answer them. Type situation. But I mean, I think that he's definitely got a shot.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah. A shot at what? A shot at what?
Running for president or winning the nomination?
Oh, a shot at running. He's not going to win anything, but a shot at running and like getting more popularity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not to do nothing, but
just just provide some zhuzh.
Right.
He doesn't look like the zhuzh kind of guy, but I like that. Just provide something to them.
Right.
Those are the kinds of things we talk about in the What You Need to Know newsletter. Also health and wellness, as well as a little known Black history fact and HBCU Corner. And so we'd love to have you subscribe. It's absolutely free. Go to SybilWilkes.com to sign up, and we will have that in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. All right. It is now time for us to move on to the What's Really Going On section. And this came about as a conversation that Med initiated, let me say, not forced, but initiated after what happened in Chicago over the weekend. Chicago just experienced an unusually early warm weekend. And as if on cue, teenagers rampaged for 2 nights in a row. Friday night, hundreds went on to the beach at 31st Street Beach, running around, lighting a fire. They chased police cars, smashed the windows on a squad car, and a 14-year-old was shot nearby. They tried to get into Millennium Park Saturday night. Hundreds of teenagers went to the downtown area, tried to get into Millennium, home of the bean that everybody sees in all of the tourist stuff, ran up and down Michigan Avenue. They jumped on cars and a CTA bus. One woman told a TV station that people jumped on her windshield, smashed it, and then attacked her husband as he sat inside the car. By the end of Saturday night, 2 teenagers had been shot. Police said 6 juveniles and 9 adults were arrested. Hundreds of teenagers flooded into downtown Chicago, smashing the car windows, trying to get into Millennium, prompting a major police response. And police were escorting tourists and others back to their cars in the Millennium Park garage. It was quite chaotic. If you saw this, you saw this. Unfortunately, these are not new incidents. But the question is, who should be held responsible for this?
Oh, that's a great question.
Should we look at this and say, you need to go home to your parents and they need to beat your butt. They need to put you on punishment. They need to do whatever they need to do. Or is it the kids? Do we put them, we can't arrest them in that sense, but do we take them to court and does the judge pronounce a sentence like you need to do something in order to make recompense for the damage you caused? Who should be responsible for this?
I mean, the parents. If the kids are young enough, then of course the parents. If the kids are of age to be brought in front of a judge and get dealt the consequences, then they need to be.
So what age is that? So what age is that, Matt? Is that 16? Is that 18?
If you can drive, and you can cause havoc, then you need to be punished. But the thing about it is, and I told you this, Sybil, when I brought this up, I'm like, we have to have a very uncomfortable conversation when it comes to how we look at things, and so I've always felt like, and Cameron, you know this, the issues that we're having in the Black community is systemic, right? We can always point back to the history of this country of why we're where we are today. And I compared it to, going to therapy when a therapist your counselor tells you, this is the issue you have, you need, this is how you fix that issue. You have two choices: either fix the issue or always use the issue as an excuse of your bad behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have an issue in this country that is systemic, that has put a lot of our parents, like we talked earlier, you have single parent homes who have a hard time keeping up with their kids because they're working 2 or 3 jobs just to keep the lights on. And we have that issue, but we then use it as an excuse to allow bad behavior. And that can't continue, because we know too many people who have gone through the hard times and have made something of themselves. Just because you're going through a hard time doesn't give us an excuse for bad behavior. Just because you're not making any money doesn't mean you got to, that's why he robbed him, because he's broke. And he's broke because the system that the country has put us in has allowed him to be broke. So obviously it's okay for him to rob somebody because of the systemic issues in this country. I don't buy that. You know what I'm saying? Do we have systemic issues? We need to fix those. Yes. But does that excuse us to allow bad behavior? No.
Yeah.
Damon, what do you think?
Well, I had a debate on Twitter with a bunch of people yesterday and today, because I said it's time for the parents to get your damn kids. That's what I said, because of course we have societal ills that are tremendous and have been oppressive for us over the years, but how long can we allow that to be the reason why we do what we do? And we all came up in this same system, this same society, and there are dozens of great kids, or thousands of great kids, or millions of great kids who have proper guidance and know better than to do what that was. It was embarrassing. It was uncalled for. It wasn't like it was a reaction to any type of, injustice or social misbehavior by the authorities. It was just a flash mob of destruction. And it may have started out innocent enough, but for the fact that it took place like it did and then escalated, and it would seem to be organized for that many people to show up at the same place. Right. Somebody may even have an agenda that's creating this narrative. But we can't, as a community, allow our kids to make us look as bad as they did on that weekend. So it's now time. It's not so much what punitive action needs to be taken. What solutions can we start to implement from a personal village standpoint? Because now it's on us. If we got our rights, we got our voting, we have our black mayor, we've had our second black mayor now that's about to come into office who's progressive. But what can he do with that type of behavior? It's nothing he could do about that if the numbers are against the police department. So I feel like more mentoring, more structured supervised activities, and more involvement from us to prevent stuff like that from happening. Seriously. And we can't wait for government to do it.
Can I say something before Cameron jump in? Sure. Something that was interesting that I saw from one of the kids that was around that area. They said that what's happening is that they do have activities to do, that the kids that are a part of this don't want to do those activities because it's boring. The thing about this, these are social media meetups. And so this is fueled by social media and for kids to kind of clout chase as well. So they're doing this to go viral, to be a menace, for it to be on social media. And I didn't think of it like that. I was just like, I thought they were acting up, but no, they're recording themselves doing bad behavior for content as well. Yeah. So she said there's a group of kids that are doing this for content purposes. And that boggles my mind, but that is another reasoning that's out there as well.
Cameron, what do you say to that as the youngest of the group, and certainly, you have younger cousins and young people in your life. You have mentored. You have been in organizations and in business with young people. What do you say to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would just like to add, just like some nuance first, because like Sybil, I have floated an article via Zoho about like spring breakers. Just like a multi-ethnic group of kids going down to Miami and just trashing Miami.
Right.
I mean, like absolutely disgusting and horrendous things. So like this is just the beginning, unfortunately, in our city, and it's going to keep happening. And as Med said as well, that, there are resources out here for these youth, but they become so wired to seek short-term gratification that they see this as a much more entertaining way. Mm-hmm. And they, unfortunately, lack all respect for us and for their beloved city. I would also add that they represent a very small minority of youth. They just happen to be the ones out here drawing media attention. I work in the neighborhoods. I work with some darn good kids, and they know better, than just be out here just smashing up stuff. When it comes to running a city where the leaves have to get raked and the trash has to get picked up, you have to hold people accountable. And as much as I hate to say it, these kids know better. They absolutely know better. And if it takes, like sending them through that pipeline, that's just what's going to have to happen. But as Damon said, that at the same time, we really need to do like a hard driven engagement effort, sit these kids down and be like, y'all, like you can't do this.
Right.
Okay.
So I think there has to be something that's between jail and doing nothing.
Right.
So, it has to be, like community service or something like that, where if they're caught and they're doing this thing, they have to serve some type of punishment for this, because otherwise there's no consequences to it.
Right.
And it's been glorified amongst them. So, and I'm the father of the defund the police, demilitarization, industrial complex prison situation son, but I haven't had this conversation with him yet. So I can get some feedback from his generation and his thought processes, but there has to be something done, and we can't protect and coddle when this behavior, when they absolutely know better, and it's not driven by anything but the attempt to be mischievous. So,
this is not the first time that it's happened in the city of Chicago. We have incidents in 2020, 21, 22, now 23. It's not the only place. Cameron, as you mentioned, Miami for the spring breakers. In Los Angeles, they had a wilding of sorts in Compton. And I'll talk about that. But I do want to get your thoughts on what the mayor-elect Brandon Johnson said, that while the behavior is unacceptable, it's also not constructive to demonize young people who have been starved of opportunities. In no way do I condone the destructive activity we saw on the Loop and Lakefront. He said in a statement, it is unacceptable and has no place in our city. However, it's not constructive to demonize youth who have otherwise been starved of opportunities in their own communities. Do you think that's true, that they have been starved of opportunities?
Man.
Yeah, so like from my point of view in the civil service sector, who is connected to the opportunities, a lot of these opportunities are like very under-attended, that they are out here, and it comes down to, just like making like the sales pitch to youth, like, hey, you want to be in the summer program. You want to be enriched. You want to better your life. I think that people are just like criminally underestimating how the past few years have wired the brains of some of these kids. Their frontal lobes are not fully formed. They can't see the big picture. They don't have the brakes to hold themselves accountable. And what they did see is that Black people are going to die anyway, that the world is on fire, that everything that I do is monitored. So why not cut up?
And they never had Betty Ann Wilkes say, you go to jail, you will not come back to this house, because I won't be going to get you out. I think that that's a part of my growing up. I was just never, it was just never in my mindset to go wild and do some crazy stuff, because if I did get arrested, who am I going to call? Because my mama's not going to take my call. You know what I mean? It's just
and again, like what I said earlier, the issues that you have, systemic, right? And as a Black mayor, when you put it out there like that, saying, yeah, they were bad, but look at, that's gonna divide the city right then and there. It's like, what do you mean, but? You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have those people that are say, what do you mean, but? You know what I'm saying? And that's gonna be tough for him to navigate, because he understands but then
what you
have to do something about it. What's going to be the action that goes along with it? And that's where he has to figure that one out.
Damon, I'm going to give you the last word on this.
Yeah, that statement was, I mean, I'm a big supporter of Brandon, and I understood the sentiment, and he's really coming up in this, community organizing. He's aware of what is out there for them to do. And that can't be an excuse. We definitely have to fix our systemic issues, but we also have to hold ourselves and our kids accountable, period. I mean, even if, like you said, they have programs that they don't want to go to. So that has to be stepped up to make it more appealing. But also, in the meantime, in the interim, they can't just be allowed to run wild, because they don't even realize the impact it'll have economically on the city as a whole. Who's going to fund programs for them if they tear up the economic epicenter by destroying tourism and the image of the city? And I know that's not something they're concerned about.
That's not a sexy topic for them. You're right. Yeah.
But that's something for us, the adults, to kind of rally around, because, we'll become Gary, Indiana. We'll become, Detroit in the 80s. And that's not what we want for our city. So it's a tough issue to face, and it's so unnecessary. It's so uncalled for. But I think if we try to give them some more palatable, structured events to attend, where they can meet up and wild out on the beach, but let's do it on Rainbow Beach,
right.
And let's go swimming or something. Don't just burn
that
stuff
up in
up.
the numbers. That up in the numbers.
I'm sorry. I am so sorry that I laughed.
It'll no longer be a mob. It'll be manageable if they do that.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, it's unfortunate. It's embarrassing. So we got to figure this out.
Unfortunately, time is not our friend, and so we have to move on to what's going on in these things that have happened today. One worker was trapped on an upper floor, conscious and alert, calling for firefighters in the collapse of a parking garage in New York City. He was rescued and taken to another building as the workers were pulled out. The fire department of New York deployed a drone, and even the new DigiDog that you mentioned the other day to further search of the debris. They said he was quite successful, and they managed to save some people. But as I said, one person was deemed a fatality. The building is at 57 Ann Street in the financial district. It's between Nassau and William Street for people who know this. And they said it happened this afternoon. It was the upper level. And my friend John Murray sent me a text saying that one woman was standing at the corner just in disbelief. She was headed to that parking garage to get her car as she saw the collapse happen. Obviously a situation of a foundation problem. And it's frightening to see this happen. But this is something, this is a reality, the crumbling infrastructure of our cities. And whatever it is that happened to this, it's not right next to Pace University for people who know where this is, but it is a frightening prospect.
Yeah, and New York is old as this country itself.
Right.
Right. That's the point. Yeah. New York. The only reason why New York is still standing is because the buildings are so close together.
Yeah, they're holding each other up, right?
Yeah, man. If you go to hotels, I don't care. In New York, it's a lot of old buildings there. Like you said, the infrastructure definitely needs to be modernized. And I feel bad for those people that park, because if they didn't read the ticket, chances are they're not going to be compensated.
Yeah, damage to your vehicle, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So too bad, so sad. Southwest Airlines requested that the FAA ground their flights due to a computer glitch today. Due to
they
had some today, yes, they had they resumed departures this afternoon after intermittent technology issues. They reported the airline was forced to temporarily pause flight activity in order to work through data connection issues resulting from a firewall failure. Tech issues, according
Southwest
to
need to get off of Microsoft Word 96. That's what they need to do. Get off Windows 96, man, because, man.
A vendor supplies firewall went down early Tuesday morning. As a result, connection to some operational data was unexpectedly lost. The employees worked quickly to minimize the disruptions. That's why they had to get in touch with the FAA and say, we can't go anywhere. And they did get back up in the air after 11:30 this morning. In a tweet, the FAA said that Southwest temporary pause on all departures had been lifted. And this update from the FAA came roughly a half hour after they announced the carrier requested the FAA pause the airline's departures. They're still trying to repair the damage from this winter over the holidays. The operational meltdown in December that led to nearly 17,000 canceled flights and displaced millions of passengers during the holiday. 17,000 flights is a lot worse than the nearly 1,800 flights that were disrupted today in just one day. But Med, you're right, and Damon, as a a platinum customer, you got to be concerned about what they're doing to make right, to get back on track. If I can use that, talking about an airline.
Yeah, I love Southwest, and they're like the nation's carrier. Like, to be honest, a lot of airports wouldn't even exist without Southwest. So we can't demonize them like our mayor said. We can't demonize Southwest until I use up all my points and benefits. But they've grown and expanded at such a pace that they need to update and modernize their technology. And with the pandemic shutting things down and them taking losses in the airline industry, they probably saw this coming and just hedged around it, hoping it didn't happen. So hopefully they'll get it together and keep these flights flying, because it's spring break. This time of year, they're overwhelmed already. So this could happen to any airline, but unfortunately, it happened to my favorite.
Tag Southwest, you're it, and that for the most part, we can still grab a really reasonable flight within that 2-week period that most of the major airlines require us to have, and still get somewhere without an extreme amount of advance notice. So, to the dismay of many of us who are excitedly preparing our popcorn today, no trial. Dominion voting has settled with Fox News. Fox
you better.
Come on, man. And they settled for half of what they were asking for. They settled for Dominion Voting Systems at $787.5 million to settle the election defamation lawsuit over the false claims that Dominion's machine swayed the outcome of the 2020 presidential election. And not only did they say it, they committed to the lie. The Fox News family committed to the lie about this. And so they were going to bring in the head of Fox News, that's Rupert Murdoch, his son. They were going to bring in the nighttime stars like Tucker and what have you, because they didn't just say, okay, we believe there was a problem with Dominion. They kept it going. And this is what ignited such a hatred and such a maelstrom for people who were Trumpers against Dominion. They were making threats against the people. People had to work from home, or people had to move from their homes, because the MAGA people were so upset that they were the ones that caused Donald Trump to lose this election, according to Fox News. And so, look, yes.
Fox News, I don't know what or how they got Dominion to back off or to accept that deal, because Dominion would have won. They would have won walking away.
Sure. And
Fox
would have come out of that? Yes.
Fox knew they'd have been done if that thing went to trial, because you see the people, Laura Ingraham, Tucker, they would have turned tail and sang like birds. You know what I'm saying? They're like, yeah, no, we didn't believe it. Yeah, no, no. Fox could not let that go to trial. If I was Dominion, I'm like, I'll take a bill.
Why? Yeah. So that's my question, you guys. Why do you think they settled for $787 million when they were asking for 1.6?
Very suspicious. Very suspicious.
Ain't nothing suspicious about that.
No, there's something else. They're getting something else. They're getting something else.
Yeah, well, not even that. If you said, okay, you called me a name and I don't have nothing, and then you say, okay, for that I want $100 billion. But you give me $800 million. All right, I'm gonna let you get away with it this time.
But 24 is right around the corner.
Yeah, to be honest, a defamation suit is hard to prove in court, regardless of the facts that we know that it was horrible, because it's still subjected to judgment. You'll never know who the jury if they went to a
Right.
jury. You know, it could have been a bunch of MAGA people on the jury. So if you probably knew that they would settle out of court, and so you put that high number because that's a lot of money to ask for, 1.6 billion from a corporation,
yep.
and to settle for half of that, I think it's not a bad day in court.
The settlement
suits are what's hot now, though, because with the Sandy Hook thing, you know, like that kind of feel like opened the floodgates to, like we can actually decide what's truth and what's false now.
Right.
And then didn't Kanye have a defamation suit coming too? Like I feel like there were.
I don't know if it was Kanye, but who was it? Alex? What was his name? Alex
Jones, right?
Alex Jones.
That was pushing Sandy Hook.
Yeah, who was pushing all the Sandy Hook rhetoric, and they got him. They nailed him. The parents of the Sandy Hook kids that died, nailed him, for defamation. So, but you're right, Damon, because the thing is, even if Dominion would have won the case, which I believe they would have, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they would have gotten that 1.6 billion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It could have been appeals. It could have been dragged out. Yeah.
It might have something to do with the jury that was selected, because the jury was seated and the judge kept saying, okay, we're going to get to you. We're going to start. And then, this afternoon came out and said they settled. So maybe they're looking at the jury going, that guy, he didn't even bother to take his MAGA hat off, or something like that.
Coming in with the red hat on.
Yeah.
Right. We watched him walk in. He had a tiki torch sticking out his trunk.
Right. But it did allow the CEO of Dominion to come out and tell reporters on the court steps that as a part of the settlement, Fox has admitted to telling lies. Well, that means big whoop for Rupert Murdoch and the rest of them, that they don't care. And here's half of what we were probably going to have to pay you. And I can maintain all my houses, and I can continue marrying younger women and disrupting and being the real life succession family that we all know that we are. So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Med, we had a story this morning that was really once the story came out and it was fleshed out a little bit more, it started to make sense to me. And this has to do with the Oklahoma governor, who has asked for sheriffs and other staffers to resign because
let's talk about it.
Because of recordings discussing lynching Black people. So he's asking them to resign, not firing them, to resign.
Okay. So let's talk about the story.
Okay, so you tell the story, and then I'll add to what the latest is.
So what we have here is a situation where in this Oklahoma City, there was a news reporter and his son that was interviewing these sheriff's deputies or something like that. They left the recorder in the office, came back, and they got a whole bunch more audio
than they bargained for in their original interview. Yeah,
exactly. So they in the audio they got, these three people were talking about killing the reporters, digging a ditch. I know where we can dig some ditches, and then they went on to talk about back in the day we used to beat Negroes butts and hang them from trees
and lynch them.
And if we could still do that, I'd run for sheriff, but we can't do that anymore. These are the conversations that they were having when they were just by themselves, but it was all picked up on the reporter's recorder. And so now the governor's coming out and say, I really think they should resign because they're discussing things that they said. And I'm like,
resign.
You think what are you talking about? Get rid of them. What? And, of course, the Republican governor, I don't know what, you know what he's thinking. He's like, hey guys, we can, when we talk, we can talk, but now that you got caught,
it's us, the good old boys, we can do this.
When it's us, that the lynching joke, I know that was my joke, and I told y'all that, but we can't.
That was just between us.
That's between us. You can't be. You got caught. Now you got to go. You know what I'm saying? I think you should resign.
So the sheriff of McCurtain County and two other staffers have been suspended by the Oklahoma Sheriff's Association after they were recorded talking about this. The vote by the organization to suspend the sheriff, Kevin Clardy, the sheriff's investigator, Alicia Manning, and the jail administrator, Larry Hendricks, from the group was unanimous, according to the OSA. the Oklahoma. It's not a regulatory agency, but the broadside came a day after the governor called for their resignation and for a county commissioner named Mark Jennings to step down as well. Oklahoma, this governor, it's crazy. But this isn't the end of this story.
Yeah, it can't be. I just wonder if the governor has the supreme authority to go ahead and fire them. If he does, then there should be pressure put on him immediately. If he doesn't, the pressure should be applied to whoever the superior officers or superior administration is of all three of these people, no matter who they are, what their positions are. They got to go.
Right. And if the governor won't, then he should go. If he has the authority.
We just saw it in Tennessee. They got rid of people that were in state government like that, voted them out, gone, just like that.
Right.
Now we have people that are in charge of protecting, communities that most likely have Black people in those communities. And when people bring up why is race always brought up, this is why. Because when you hear how some of these people in power talk about the Black community, this is what you get. And that's why we always have to keep bringing it up.
And Janet Ferguson is right. She's on Facebook and says ask for their resignation so they could keep their pensions.
Yep.
Looking out for them.
That's how it's played.
And somebody should take away the governor's pension and fire him too. And that would be the people.
They're all in the same club. They're all in the same club talking. This is like, they're really talking to each other like, oh, what are you doing? You know you can't do that. You can't talk like that, man. You didn't see the recorder still there? Now what you want me to do? What you want me to do now?
What would you have me do? What you tell me? Right. You tell me.
Right. How can I help? How can we fix this? That's what they're doing. This is an old boys club. He believes the same stuff. We got to move from this to entertainment, and I'm bringing this to two married men and one young man who has been in relationships. Chance the Rapper is getting a lot of heavy criticism on social media for dancing with women who were not his wife at the carnival in Jamaica.
Okay.
The young musician's moves captured on camera during the celebration have created a big buzz and debate about whether or not his fun was inappropriate as a married man. A lot of fuss being made over his birthday trip to Jamaica for Carnival. Videos have people debating if the married MC was doing too much or simply having harmless fun. A variety of responses to the clips, and saying people that need to let him have his fun, and other people saying, if that was my husband or my wife, no, that would not be happening. And there would be no more discussion about this. Where do you guys stand on this?
Okay, all right, here we go. It's Carnival. It's Carnival. First and foremost, it's Carnival. He did nothing wrong. And I don't know if anyone's been in that environment. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if his wife was holding the camera. You know what I'm saying? It is Carnival. That is what goes down in Carnival. You know what I'm saying? You go to any kind of Carnival celebration, I don't care if you're married or not, y'all dancing and y'all whining and you juking and you're doing all that. It's just part of the situation. Doesn't mean he's doing anything immoral or improper. He's just being part of the celebration. Deal with it. I'm sure his wife will be all right. She'll be all right. They'll be all right. Tell you, she was
a nice little bauble, perhaps, from the trip, and kind of smooth things over.
She'll be okay.
Damon, you're a happily married man and respectful of your wife. What do you say?
Well, first of all, my wife, thanks to COVID, we didn't make it to a carnival in Cayman, but she had ordered one of those costumes, and I promise you, if she was walking around with her ass out, 3 pumps and a hug would have took place with somebody else, because. And that's all he did. He gave her 3 seconds of culture and a nice, respectful hug, and the video ended. And that's what Carnival is. There's 3 seconds of culture. That's all that was.
I don't know what to tell y'all. It is what it is. When it comes to Carnival, it is what it is.
You know, if you're a man and you walking down in the parade at Carnival, somebody gonna put their butt on you. It's just that simple. Especially if you're famous. Now he did give it a little slap. He did that little. No.
He was telling her to go on now. She's doing too much.
Right.
Stop that. Come on now. You gotta go. You gotta go now. You're doing too much.
Cameron, you're the young single guy in the group. What do you say?
Yeah, Sybil, I know Chance personally. No, seriously, like I call him Chancellor to this day. He and I went to school together. He absolutely adores his wife. Right. Very, very faithful young man. And then also, like, let's just take into account where it is that Chancellor grew up. Like, juke parties in Chicago, everybody dances with everybody, and then we talk about who dances with who afterward. That's just a part of it. So, if anything, he's just adhering to his cultural roots. Y'all just wish that y'all could have been in Jamaica.
So there's just the haters.
And you can't combine juke and carnival and expect nobody to touch.
Right, come on. That's just what it is.
Right. Then they'll be calling them gay. Like, oh, how you gonna be around all that ass and not do nothing? You know?
Look, right, if his wife had a problem with it, she would have told him not to go. Because the minute that you know he's going to the carnival, you know what's going to happen. So I think if she had a problem with it, he wouldn't have even been there.
I mean, because to be honest, married men get lap dances, and sometimes their wives go to strip clubs with them. And that's way more exotic than out in public, out in the street, a little bit of juke and a little bit of junkanoo.
So it's all harmless fun. There's no there. And people are just trying to mind our own business.
Yeah.
But have you not seen the videos of Jamaican dancing? It's like a WWE event.
Here's the thing. I know of couples where the wives send their husbands to Rio for Carnival because they like, really, he ain't gonna be around much longer. Let him have his fun. And so, I don't know if that's the proper way to send your husband off, but
that's one way to get rid of him, though, because that's like on what was that when they said Bangkok got him? You can't send him to Rio. Right. No, that's extreme. Right. Jamaica Carnival is one thing. Rio is where Sunshine was born. Hey, it's Richie. Put your mama on the phone.
Right. I ain't never coming back. Uncle Doug did that a couple of times to the family. So yeah, absolutely. I appreciate all of the thoughts and observations today. Thank you, guys. We're going to close out with the jewel, our daily inspiration. The best way to conquer fear is to do the things that scare you the most. Result is growth. So get out there and shoo away all the fears. Do something.
That's a beautiful thought, Yogi, but I'm still not getting on the roller coaster. All right.
Not once?
Not now. I did it before. I'm never doing it again. I don't like the feeling of almost dying for my pleasure.
So those never mind. Okay, you guys, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Have a great week, and we will see you all again soon. Aloha.